Good evening, friends. Today we are going to discuss why was 26th of January chosen as India's Republic Day. Indian Constitution Indian Constitution was adopted Indian Constitution was adopted on November 26, 1949 by the Constituent Assembly, but January 26, 1950 was chosen as the day it would come into effect. Let's discuss why it is so. We celebrate 26 January as India's Republic Day since 1950. The Constitution was adopted officially by the Constituent Assembly on November 26, 1949. Then why do we celebrate our Republic Day on 26th of January? The answer lies in the history of Indian freedom struggle. During the Indian freedom struggle, the date 26 January held significance since 1930. The historic Poorna Swaraj Declaration was officially promulgated on 26 January 1930. It was the beginning of the final phase of India's freedom struggle. The goal of the Poorna Swaraj Declaration was the complete independence from the British rule. The context of 1920s. The non-cooperation movement ended unceremoniously in February 1922 after the Chauri Chaura incident. Mahatma Gandhi at that time felt that the country was not yet ready for his non-violent methods of protest. Thus, 2000 thus 1920s did not see further mobilization at the scale that was seen during the non-cooperation movement and anti-Rolette satyagraha. But then also 1920s were very significant because of two reasons. There was a rise of revolutionaries like Bhagat Singh and Chandrasekhar Azad, the coming age of the new generation of Indian National Congress leaders such as Jawaharlal Nehru, Subhash Chandra Bose, Vallabhbhai Patel, and C. Rajgopalachari. All these collectively laid the ground for the future course of India's freedom struggle during 1920s. In 1927, British authorities appointed Simon Commission. It was a team of 7 members under Sir John Simon. The aim of the commission was to deliberate political reforms in India, but the members included all European. This act of the British authorities sent a wave of outrage and discontent across the country. For the first times since 1922, protest against the government, that is the Simon Commission, spread nationwide. The chants of Simon go back were echoing across the country. In response, the Indian National Congress, that is INC, appointed its own commission under Motilal Nehru. The Nehru Report demanded that India be granted dominion status within the British Empire. Dominions were defined in the Balfour Declaration of 1927. Autonomous communities within the British Empire, equal in status, in no way subordinate to another in any aspects of their domestic or external affairs, though united by the common allegiance to crown and freely associated as a member of a British Commonwealth nation, the Balfour Declaration of 1927. In 1927, countries like Canada, Australia, and New Zealand were granted dominion status. Dominion or republic, internal disagreement within the Congress. Crucially, even within the Congress, the Nehru Report did not enjoy universal support. Young leaders such as Bose and Jawaharlal Nehru, Motilal Nehru's own son, were wanted wanted India to break all ties with the British Empire. They argued that under the Dominion status, while India would enjoy a certain level of autonomy, the British Parliament and Crown would still have the ability to meddle in the Indian affairs. Importantly, for Bose and Nehru, attaining Dominion status would make India partly to colonial exploitation elsewhere in the British Empire, mainly Africa. With a far more radical worldview than their predecessors, Bose and Nehru looked at anti colonialism not only as a local political issue for India, but in a more global lens. However, Mahatma Gandhi was still very much for dominion status, arguing that it would be a welcome step in India's anti colonial struggle. His views soon change. His views would soon change. Viceroy Irvine goes back on his word. In 1929, Viceroy Irvine had vaguely announced that India would be granted dominion status in the future. Known as the Irvine Declaration, it was warmly welcomed by Indians but faced massive backlash back in Britain. The British population the British population was still pro-empire, and India was seen as the empire's crown jewel. Importantly, as the world's economy went into recession, India India, arguably Britain's most valuable colony with its vast land resources and population, crucial for its economy, thus under pressure from back home. Irvine went back on his word. In a meeting with Mahatma Gandhi and Muslim League's Muhammad Ali Jinnah and few other leaders, he said that he could not promise India dominion status anytime soon. This would be a turning point as the Congress grew increasingly united on the issue. With the British unable to follow through on even reasonable reforms, Indians supported increasingly radical goals, a fully development and a fully independent republic being one of the first. The declaration of Poorna Swaraj, the Lahore session of Indian National Congress, convened in December 1929. On December 19, the historic Poorna Swaraj resolution was passed in the session. Poorna Swaraj literally means total self or sovereignty, self rule or sovereignty. The resolution said the British government in India has not only deprived the Indian people of their freedom, but has based itself on the exploitation of the masses and has ruined India economically, politically, culturally, and spiritually. Therefore, India must sever the British connection and attain Purna Swaraj or complete independence. This declaration of the independence was officially promulgated on January 26, 1930. The Congress argued Indians to come out and celebrate independence on that day. The Indian tricolor was hosted across the country by the Congress party workers, and patriotic songs were sung as the country reconfirmed its strategy for independence. The resolution, the resolution were the resolution also contained in it an affirmation to Gandhian methods of non-violent protest, which would start almost immediately after the Purna Swaraj Day was celebrated. Historian Mithi Mukherjee, in India Under the Shadows of Empire, writes that the Purna Swaraj Declaration was a crucial pivotal point. What she said is a crucial pivotal point for India's freedom struggle. It was with this declaration that India's national movement shifted from language of charity to the language of justice. The next point we are going to discuss Republic Day in post-independence India. From 1930 till India finally won its independence in 1947, January 26 was celebrated as a Independence Day or Poorna Swaraj Day, with Indians reaffirming their commitment towards the sovereignty on that day. However, India won independence from the British on August 15, exactly 2 years after the Japanese surrendered to the Alliance to end the World War II, as historian Ramchandra Guha wrote. Finally, finally, the day finally came on day that resonated with the imperial pride rather than nationalist sentiment. Thus, leaders had to decide on a day to promulgate India's new constitution. January 26 was thought to be ideal. Not only did this date already hold nationalist significance, the constitution in many ways was reflected the Purna Swaraj declaration of 2 decades back. While today's Republic Day celebration was very different from what Purna Swaraj Day looked like under the British Raj, January 26 remains a solemn reminder of the journey India took to attain self rule. So, this was all about why do we celebrate 26 January as a Republic Day. If you want this PDF, please see in the description box. Thank you very much.